Hologram human. The Mandela effect consists in the coincidence of memories in several people that contradict real facts. Thus, it is a phenomenon associated with false collective memory. Wikipedia. Since a person is energy, then, accordingly, the reading of information of certain events occurs by decoding vibrational energy waves. A single particle, man, of collective energy, society, emits its own vibrations peculiar only to him. The interpretation of events occurs by means of vibrations of the senses. In order to receive certain information, he needs to synchronize with the vibrations of the collective waves. Sometimes it fails 100%. The picture is not complete or distorted. Hence, there is no coincidence of information. What is now shown on the internet? Changed pages in books, not matching phrases in videos and films. All this explains the existence of different worlds of personalities. Each person has their own world. All worlds are intertwined, an exact copy of the cosmos. Energy planet Earth is a hologram of high-frequency energy that has created itself. The energy of man, as a part of infinity, enters into resonance with the frequency of the waves of the planet Earth plus the frequency of vibrations of a certain family, and a hologram of the planned world is created. You need to understand that in order for the hologram of man C to be projected in the form that we know, the energy of infinite love must resonate with billions of different energy vibrational waves. They combine to form the DNA code. And also, no matter how strange it may sound, the energies of all previous incarnations with all the experience accumulated there as the energy component of generations are collected in the DNA code. Hence the understanding of why all people have similar DNA and, at the same time, we are all different. This, first of all, is an energy reaction that turns into a chemical compound of all particles. After all, the periodic table that makes up our body is certain frequencies of waves of vibrations of energies, each of which prevails in a specific percentage of fundamental law for the totality of vital vibrations of a person. Studies of the frequencies of parts of the human body using modern spectral analysis devices conducted by Dr. Robert Becker provide the following data. The average frequency of vibrations of a healthy organism in the daytime is 60 to 68 megahertz. The frequency of parts of the body of a healthy person in the range of 62 to 78 megahertz. The fundamental frequency of the brain can be in the range of 80 to 82 megahertz. The frequency range of the brain is 72 to 90 megahertz. The normal brain frequency is 72 megahertz. The frequency of vibrations of parts of the human body from the neck up in the range of 72 to 78 megahertz. The frequency of vibrations of parts of the body from the neck down in the range of 60 to 68 megahertz. The frequency of vibrations of the thyroid gland and parathyroid gland is 60 to 68 megahertz. The frequency of vibrations of the thymus gland is 65 to 68 megahertz. The vibration frequency of the heart is 67 to 70 megahertz. The frequency of vibrations of the lungs is 58 to 65 megahertz. The frequency of liver vibrations is 55 to 60 megahertz. The frequency of pancreatic vibrations is 60 to 80 megahertz. The frequency of bone vibrations is 43 megahertz. At this frequency, the bones do not have their own immunity despite their hardness. They are protected by soft tissues with higher natural frequencies. Our life and health depend on how we are able to absorb vibrations that are useful to us, resonate at the aggregate frequencies of the universe, and reject harmful, destructive vibrations that suppress our life force. Destructive vibrations: grief from 0.1 to 2 hertz, fear 0.2 to 2.2 hertz, resentment 0.6 to 3.3 hertz, irritation 0.9 to 3.8 hertz, perturbation 0.6 to 1.9 hertz, Self 2.8 Hz. Temper 0.9 Hz. Flash rage 0.5 Hz. Anger 1.4 Hz. Pride 0.8 Hz. Pride 3.1 Hz. Neglect of 1.5 Hz. Superiority of 1.9 Hz. Pity 3 Hz. Colds and flu begin in humans if the frequency drops to 57 to 60 MHz. If the frequency drops below 58 MHz, any disease occurs, depending on its pathogenic source. Fungal infections grow when the frequency drops below 55 MHz. Susceptibility to cancer occurs at a frequency of 42 MHz. The drop in oscillations of energy waves to a frequency of 25 MHz. Collapse occurs, death. If several objects have similar constituent frequencies of their vibrational waves, then they resonate and amplify each other's vibrations. There is a synergistic effect, that is, each object receives additional energy. If objects have incommensurable frequencies, then an object with more energy can suppress the vibrations of a weak object. That is how, when exposed to pathogenic factors, the disease develops in the human body. Positive vibrations. Compliance with 38 Hz and above. Acceptance of the world as it is, without indignation and other negative emotions 46 Hz. Generosity 95 Hz. Gratitude 45 Hz. Heartfelt thanks from 140 Hz. Unity with other people 144 Hz and above. Compassion from 150 Hz. And pity only 3 Hz. Love with the head, when a person still does not know how to love with his heart, 50 Hz. The love that a person generates with his heart to all people without exception, and all living things from 150 Hz and above. Love is unconditional, sacrificial, accepted in the universe from 205 Hz and above. The easiest way to raise the frequency of vibrations is positive thoughts. There are also a huge number of different and well-known practices and breathing exercises. Healthy eating, sports exercises, doing what brings joy, a pleasant environment. Each person must take responsibility for what energy he projects into the world and into his own state. The vibrations of our thoughts, emotions, moods, and actions are reflected in them. Quality of life, and in everything around us. It has an impact on the whole world. Taking into account the fact that we are the creators of our world, it is very important to understand and control the quality of its energy vibrational vibrations. Illness is a reflection of the body, a distortion of consciousness. It will go away when we correct the distortions. Signs of increased vibrations: reducing the amount of food needed, lack of hunger. The time required for sleep is reduced. Dreams become lucid, vivid, and vivid. The line between dream and reality is reduced. The presence of vivacity. The body becomes light. Volatile energy is felt in it. Wings grow behind the back. We begin to feel people acutely. We begin to perceive the higher frequencies of other people. The need for communication disappears. Loneliness becomes pleasant. A feeling of fullness and self-sufficiency comes. There is an understanding that everything external is only a reflection of the internal. Fears and self-doubt go away. There is a feeling of absolute confidence in the correctness of the goal. Intuition is never wrong. Our impact on the environment is increasing. Everything we say or think comes true. There comes an experience of causeless joy from what is happening. Health and happiness are based on skillful energy management. Correct, healthy energy connections are very important, so you need constant care and, so to speak, prevention of the energy components of your holographic projection. Let's look at a simple example. Pie recipe. Components: 2 eggs plus 1 glass of water plus 1 teaspoon of salt plus 2 tablespoons of sugar plus a pinch of soda plus flour until the desired mass is formed. Everything is combined, thoroughly mixed, and put in the oven for a certain time at a certain temperature, a favorable environment for obtaining the conceived product. Similarly, the hologram of a person is formed according to strictly dosed energy vibrations in a certain place and in a favorable environment. When the entire periodic table has resonated at the energy level, soul, it is projected through the energy channel into a favorable environment, the mother's womb. Life forms on other planets are formed according to the same principle. These are energies located in the corresponding fields, wave radiations, and vibrations of these planets and galaxies. Their DNA codes differ from human DNA in the same way that all life forms are different from each other in their structure due to the combination of billions of combinations of energy vibrational waves. As on Earth, there are simpler and more complex compounds. The structure of the universe cannot be considered according to the principle of divisions of sciences. All of them are interconnected. Chemistry, physics, biology, medicine, astronomy, psychology, mathematics, and even geography. Any phenomena and formations occur according to the same system. All these sciences are intertwined, and they all explain structures and formations in the same way, only each of them uses its own terms to convey information for better understanding and perception. But the language of science is not clear to everyone. Simple explanation. The word is energy. Phrase, a set of energies. Text, a set of a larger number of different frequency waves of energies. To understand the meaning, you need to enter the resonance of the energy flow of waves connect. Unfortunately, this is not always possible. To succeed, you need to focus on the moment. In other words, direct the wave of energy to the desired point. The main questions people ask are, who? From where? Why? In other words, why and who needed all this? Usual answers. Who? God. From where? From there, somewhere up there. What for? For self-improvement. But the answer to the main question, why did he need it, remains unclear. God must have been bored. The version that God created man in his own image suits many, although it does not give an explanation to the main question. What are we, the likeness of God, doing here? But be that as it may, it gives more or less specific answers that suit society. So here's what's happening. The pure energy of light projects a hologram, the little man. Absolutely pure energy enters a new space. More precisely, in a limited space, the body, the combination of energies for this formation, family, it speaks for itself, the totality of I, various energy connections, society, a collective connection of different pole and different frequency connections of energies, country, the largest number of energy compounds mentioned above, planet Earth, an energy substance that regenerates with the above vibrations and interacts with them. All this is in constant motion. But first things first, let's start with the body. They need to learn how to manage. This is helped by soulmates, parents who spend more time in projection and know something about this world. But we must not forget that they projected their world themselves by means of radiation of their energy vibration waves. Their frequency has already changed due to the connections and overlays of vibrations of various life forms, with which they interacted during the period of being in the program of their projection, the hologram. Thus, pure, just incipient energy is mixed with other energies, and the hologram of the physical body of man is reprogrammed. And this is where the main task begins, to raise the vibrations and return to your original state of pure energy, to the starting point. When the pure energy of infinite love projects a hologram of life on Earth, it does not know what it will face, so it does not immediately understand what to do and in which direction to move. Therefore, inside every person, there is a feeling that he does not live his own life, that he deserves the best. And the search for oneself by trial and error begins. There is no other way. A complete mess begins. The hologram of one particle intersects with the hologram of others and is synchronized. There are distortions of all individual projections. Waves of high and low vibrations of different frequency, length, and height are generated. With the accumulation of low frequency vibrations, everything is distorted. They pull down and cannot project high frequency projections, landscapes. With low frequencies, other, similar in frequency vibrations, and therefore projections, parasites are identified, living due to recharge by temporary connection. If a person does not notice such changes, pumping out energy, over time he ceases to be the master of his hologram of man and the hologram of his world. Everything changes, the colors go out, people change, the environment, there is no work, there is no money, there is no energy, health is undermined. What to say about bad habits? They become part of the character. In the meantime, parasitic substances, negatively charged frequencies of energy, do everything for him. If such a person commits an unworthy act and asks him, "Why did you do this?" he will answer, "I don't know," and he will not lie. He really doesn't know the way he did it. This was done by entities using his body in a way that they did not have their own. Their vibrational waves cannot create holograms. They only have negative frequencies. And to create a person, various wave flows of a certain length, frequency, and height are needed. These combinations are contained in the microorganisms that make up our physical body, microbiology, from the chemical elements of the periodic table, chemistry, in the well-coordinated system of our organs, medicine. The quality of life of such a person deteriorates, he attracts trouble, chronic diseases appear, and so on. The hologram of the physical body deteriorates, deforms, and dies. That's how there was no trace of the originally conceived projection. Therefore, some have a feeling of heaviness, and some of them close their program, turn off their projection, the hologram of suicide. It is assumed that a piece of infinite love should return to its source. That's right, it is moving to its original starting point, where it all began, into the empty space of infinity.